Welcome back to a second demo example of a user tool in which we're going to use drop-down pick lists, and then we're also going to use match and index functions in Excel to really flesh out the power of creating a user tool for yourself or for sharing with others. So let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be demo project number 2. And here we go. So let's see, in the first example, we had a simple ideal gas system calculator. I sort of blundered through showing you how to create a drop-down pick list. And then I really blazed through using match and index for getting the relationships of other tabulated things against what the user, maybe you or others, have selected in the drop-down pick list. And now, second project would be to create a bill of materials cost tool. A quick little reminder about how to create a drop-down pick list. It turns out that it wasn't until about 2005 that a coworker and I were working on a project together, and I was looking at his Excel work, his Excel sheet, his Excel file, and he had a drop-down pick list, and my eyes just about popped out. I said, "My God, how did you do that? That is so cool." I was not aware of that capability in Excel. So I've been using Excel a good number of years, but he said, "Well, let me show you how to do this, Jay. It's really incredibly easy." So he said, "Well, just click on the cell where you want the pick list, and then go to data, click the data tab, click on data validation, and this window pops up, and you will drop down list. That's going to be the pick list. And then you select the source, the range that you want the user to select from, and then okay, and there's your drop-down pick list." I couldn't believe it. And so I quickly jotted down those notes and then immediately started improving my user tools that I shared with others using drop-down pick lists. So that's a good example of standing on the shoulders of other people, trying to keep your eyes open and pick up little tricks of the trade from your coworkers. So here's our project number 2. I want to create a user tool that enables the user. It could be me, it could be you, somebody we want to share this with. Enables the user to create a bill of materials, identify the quantity of each, select a material, and then identify the how many you need of that material. And then the tool will calculate the cost of that material and then add up all the materials you need. So, wow, I hope that you can imagine a use for this. And I've tried to create something as if I were getting ready to make a deck, add on a deck to a house. But I'm hoping that you could visualize maybe some other types of user tools that might more relate to industry or manufacturing or science. Or something like that. So there's my signal to go live. So let's go ahead and go live and wish me luck. Okay, I'm out of PowerPoint. I'm going to go to Excel. I'm going to start with a blank Excel. And then I'm going to load in the file I was just working on, pick list demo. And so here's what we created here in the first video: ideal gas calculator, molecular weights. And now we're going to work on bill of materials, these last 2 tabs. Let me show you the last tab first, material costs. So I went out and I went to Home Depot and I took some screenshot of some costs of some various things. And I've just pasted the images into Excel. But using those, I've created myself a table. Now, it's going to be a standalone table, and see how I'm, rather than making it part of the user tool, it's a separate tab all into itself. So I've got full control over this. I can add rows and add rows and add rows. And so, in fact, here's what I've done is my first row is simply called spare. I've got some, and it's nothing in it, right? So the cost per unit is 0. But you can see that what I've done is here's a 2x4 by 8 piece of lumber, costs $4.28. Okay, the unit of a piece of lumber 8 feet long is each. That's the unit, each. Okay, how about screws? So I'm going to need some deck screws. Number 8, bugle head screws, 3 inches long. The unit is a box. It's a box of it. And that box costs $39.97. And then so you get the joist hangers. I'm going to need some joist hangers to build the frame and then put the deck boards on top of that. Joist hangers are $1.86 per unit is each. So anyway, and also notice here how I'm allowing space for spares. I'm thinking ahead. So I might have another building project that it might involve bricks and cinder blocks and stuff like that. And I'd need to go back. So I could put in bricks, let's say 100 bricks and a pallet. And I don't know how much cost that might be. Let's say $52. Let's say $52. You get the idea, right? So I've added spares so that if your next application, you might want to add some things. But here, this is our basic table where this is going to be our pick list word or words, okay? And then there's things associated with it. There's units and cost per unit. Okay, so that's the pre-work that I've done for you. I've done some window shopping at Home Depot. Now let's look at our bill of materials. And I've tried to get it started. Rather than a blank slate, I've titled it. Okay, there's my title. There's my file, Pick List Demo by me. And the tab name is Bill of Materials. Okay. And so I'm trying to think of if I'm designing this for myself or others, at least for right now, I might have 20 materials that I'm going to select to make my project up. So let's go ahead and these are just blank cells here. Okay. So let's go and let's do our pick list first. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to click on this. Okay. I'm going to go to data validation. And sure enough, I've goofed around a little bit. Notice here how it's already dropped down list, and it's already dropped down material costs A2 to A25. A2 to A25. So let's see, and so you can remember what that is. A2 to A25 is that list of materials. Okay, so we're going to click OK. Let's see if it works. Sure enough, look at that. There's the list, including spare. So A2 to A25 includes all those words spare, okay? And there they are. And so let me pick something. Let's pick that 2x4 by 8 foot of lumber. Now, as I'm looking at my tool, I think it might make sense to go ahead and color these yellow because it's kind of like the user's putting those in. Okay, so we're going to call those yellow. But do you see that now? Okay, do you see that what we'll do is we're going to drag this all the way down. We're going to copy and paste all those down. Oh, I don't want a bunch of lumber. Let me go down and pick spare. And then I'm going to drag those down. Okay, so I've got a bunch of spares. Okay. All right, so there we go. And in fact, I believe what I can do, I can hit my delete key and wipe all those out. Anyway, okay, so you see how that works. Next is the unit. What are the units associated with the material? If we can create this formula, we're going to be able to drag this formula all the way down and save ourselves time. So let's do it in 2 steps. The unit lookup. So we're looking for the unit. Remind ourselves what we've got. We're looking to look up the unit associated with the selected word. Okay, so it's going to be a word returning, isn't it, for this case? All right, so we're going to say, okay, so that's the column we're looking for, but we need the match row. Okay, so first thing we're going to say is index. In other words, what array do we want to look up our unit in? So I'm going to click the whole column, material costs, and I'm going to click the B column, comma. Okay, now it's saying, what row do you want me to look at? That's going to be the match formula. So I'm going to type out the word match. Well, match what? It says value. What value? Well, I've got to go back and I've got to say this value right here in this cell, bill of materials B5. Okay. Comma. What lookup array do you want me to look for the match in? I've got to go back to my material costs, and the lookup array is the A column. Okay. And then finally, since it's a word we're looking up, I'm going to hit comma and exact match 0, because you have to have an exact match for text. Close parentheses, and I'm going to close parentheses again. If I study my formula, I've got that leftmost, this leftmost parentheses has to be closed, so I don't get that error message. Okay, and there it is. Okay, and so I think I'm pretty good, and so I can, there's a formula. It's a pretty involved Excel formula, but I tried to work you through it. We can drag this formula all the way down here. Wow. Okay. Well, look at this. On this formula, it's looking for a space or a blank, didn't find any. So let's go ahead and just for keeping things clean, let's just go ahead and drag down the word spare. Let's select spare and all those. And so do you see that the unit lookup for spare, let's go check our work. Wherever I see the word spare, it finds spare. So that's the return there. Cost per unit. Okay, so here we go back. Now, cost per unit, we need to look that up. Equals index. In other words, what array do you want me to look up the cost per unit in? I'm going to go to material cost. I'm going to click the C column. That's the array, my lookup array. Well, what match row do I need? That's match. Well, match what? What's my lookup value? I come back to bill of materials. My lookup value is right here. This material that it's text, okay, comma, it says, well, what array am I supposed to match it with? I'm supposed to match it in the A column. That's my lookup array, comma, and I want an exact match, 0. Close parentheses twice, $4.28. And so now I can drag, I've got a nice formula here in cell D5. I'm going to be able to, instead of having to create a formula for each of these next 19, all I've got to do is drag the formula down. Pretty cool, huh? Okay. And so the cost for a spare, the cost is 0. There it is, cost per spare. Let's see. Well, let's go back and see if we're on track. How about joist hangers? Let's get some joist hangers. Okay, sure enough, we've selected some joist hangers each. They're $1.86 each. How about number of units? Well, let's say we need 15 of these, and we need 30 of these joist hangers. How will we calculate the cost? Okay, well, we've got 15 each at $4.28 each. So the cost is simply equals the number we have times the unit cost. Oh, shoot. And so, I'm stealing my, there's something I didn't wipe out. Let's look down here. At the bottom of our user tool, I've already created a formula down here and labeled it total cost. This is just the title. It's just text. But this formula, cell F26, is equals sum F5 through F24. All right, well, now let's see. We've got a nice formula in the cost in cell F5. All I've got to do now is drag this formula down. And so sure enough, number of units, 0 units times 0 is 0, but automatically we're getting a sum of our project. And so now do you see that for our bill of materials, what else might we want to get? Let's see, 2x4. We need some bigger joists, 2x6, 2x6. That's 1138 for a 2x6 by 12. Okay. And let's say we need 12 of those. Wow, that's a good bit of. How about boards for our? So we need some boards for our decking. Let's see, there's some decking. Okay. And it says 12 foot, 1 1/4 thick by 6 inches wide by 12 feet long. Let's say we need 21 of those. Okay. And let's see, we'd better get some nails. Okay. So I'm going to drop down. Let's see, nails. I need some nails. There's nails. And let's see, that's a box. It's a box of nails, 580. and I might need 3 boxes of nails. Okay, that's 1740. And so notice here that in our tool, let me pretend like I didn't have this in here. Okay. If I create a form, the total cost equals sum of, all I have to do is, what do you want me to sum? Excel asks you that. And I'm going to light up this range, close parentheses. See, it says F5 through F24, close parentheses and enter. And there's our total cost. And so you get the idea. If you say, well, wait a minute, I didn't really need these 2x4x8s. So I'm going to turn that back to spare. So that zeroes that cost out and it updates the cost of your project. So it's kind of cool, right? So you could print this out. So one is you're going to get a feel for how much your project is going to cost before you go to Home Depot. Also, if you printed this out, you've got a little bit of a shopping list, right? So you can go and check off your shopping list. You need 30 joist hangers. You need 2x6, 12, 2x6x12s. You need 3 boxes of nails, and on and on and on. And so I hope that and so I'm going to hit File Save. Okay, so there's File Save. So I've made a bunch of changes, and let's recap a little bit before we go back to PowerPoint. Got 6, I'm in good shape now. I've got 6, we've spent 16 minutes talking about this. What did I do? I did some homework first. I created a data table first, and I assigned it to a separate tab. I didn't combine my user tool with the basic data table. And that's just sort of a style thing that I use to keep things simple, to do things one at a time. So there's a separate tab called Material Costs, easy to understand, and also easy to manage and maintain. So for example, cinder blocks, I can add cinder blocks. Each, you want to buy a cinder block, and each one might be, I don't know, 550 or 660 or something like that. So you get the idea that by having a materials cost table, it enables you to manage or maintain your materials table. And then we said, okay, here's the tool. Don't forget sort of the habit of titling each tab, naming the file, and then sort of fleshing out the pick list or the user tool. For this one, you see how the user tool, it fits on one screen. It's easy to print. Okay. It's clear what the user is putting in. Okay. We could probably argue that maybe these don't need to be yellow. We could argue that those could be no fill because the user doesn't need to do anything. That's just a courtesy. When I was creating the tool, that was just a courtesy to say I've got potentially 20 things. Okay. And if I wanted to add more, it would be a simple matter to add more rows to this basic table if you need more entries in your bill of materials. Okay, I've made some changes, so I'm going to hit save again. And let's see, I'm still sharing, but I need to go back to PowerPoint. Okay, so there's the screenshot. And let's reprise what we did for both problems 1 and problems 2. I hope I've illustrated you a couple of examples of the power of an Excel user tool and the fact that maybe you're not interested in a bill of materials. Maybe you're not interested in calculating the mass of a closed system of an ideal gas. But it's my bet that you've got some things in mind that you're interested in, that you want to create a little user tool for yourself that you might be using in a repetitive way, using it twice or 3 or dozens of times, or you're working on a team and you want to share that user tool with others on your team, or you maybe want to even share it, if it's generic enough, with others who you haven't even met, perhaps in your organization. We used, so in order to get the drop-down pick list, we used data validation / list. It's a list of things. And then you use match and index for the relationship table to relate the units associated with what you picked, the cost associated with what you picked. And remember that there is a video. I've got another video on the playlist on how to use match and index. And so the sky's the limit for you. So I hope I've given you some ideas on things that you would like to work on. And that's it. Give it a try. So now that you see the basics, bring Excel up, start you a new file, save as to a certain file name, and see what you can design on your own. Good luck with it.